Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching Nile Cruise on Nile TV, and from the Grand Egyptian Museum, dear viewers, we bring you this very special exclusive episode of Nile Cruise. Dear viewers, Egypt still dazzles the world with a unique civilization and distinctive phenomena, as the design of the Grand Egyptian Museum is, of course, that it is geometrical, consistent with the pyramids of Giza, where the first side is aligned with the Great Pyramid, Khufu, the middle of the building with the pyramid, the middle pyramid, Khafra, and the other side with a smaller pyramid, Manqara, which is one of the wonders of the museum's architectural design. And dear viewers, to shed more light on the uniqueness of the design globally, the sun, of course, and the triple beam with the pyramids, we're honored to have with us our great, amazing guest, which is engineer Menna Heikal. A very good day, and it's a pleasure to have you with us in today's episode of Nile Cruise. Of course, Menna, at the beginning of this year, the consultant engineer at the Egyptian Grand Museum, and we need your informative knowledge to know more about this a little bit complicated, of course, design for everybody all around the world to know more about. Could you please explain the general design of the Grand Egyptian Museum in its area, please?
As you were saying, that it's in a very unique location in front of the three pyramids. So what's better than to take the three pyramids as a guideline to make the design? So yes, I'm enclosed between the three pyramids, the bigger one, Khufu, and the smallest one, Manqara, where my edges of the design is enclosed between the both pyramids. So I have a starting point, and then I'm connected to the top of both pyramids, and the layout of the museum is enclosed in between. And for the middle pyramid, Khafra, I'm taking the height of the museum. So I'm starting from the lowest point up until the top of the pyramid, Khafra, and this makes...
So you started from Manqara?
I'm starting, the layout is between Manqara and Khufu. So I'm having a starting point on the side.
Is the smallest pyramid?
Yes, the smallest and the biggest pyramid.
And the biggest.
Yes,
okay,
this makes the layout.
That's Khufu and Manqara.
Khufu and Manqara. This makes the layout of the building. So I'm having a starting point on site, far away from the pyramids, and I'm taking extensions up until the top of the first pyramid, Khufu, and the smallest pyramid, Manqara.
Menna, how do you see the distinguished location of the museum, and how could it change the tourist map?
Having or being in front of the three pyramids and having such a great museum here makes like a chance so that I can make all this area as a an archaeological hub. So everybody from everywhere can come to spend like several days between the pyramids, between the Grand Egyptian Museum, and this is like when you previously when you come to Cairo, you have some distinct places that you visit, and this will be one major one that one day will never be enough. So if you try to really visit the museum and the pyramids, you need like almost a week.
Menna, let's know more about the hanging obelisks, and first Articab that receives visitors and directs them to the main hall known as the Grand Hall here in the, of course, Gem, as well as the main entrances. And I know there are many entrances that mix us up when we're coming here.
Yes, but this is the main one. This is the first one.
What's the name of the main one?
This is the entrance to Ramses in the Grand Hall.
Okay.
This is the main entrance.
There's no name?
Because you have... No,
or
it's
the
Grand Hall.
The name of the gates outside.
You have here the hanging obelisk, piazza, and then you have the main entrance in the Grand Hall. So this is the main location or the main entrance. You can enter the museum from different places, but if you want to experience it from the beginning, then you have to enter from the piazza or from the hanging obelisk square. What's interesting about the hanging obelisk is that, of course, it's raised, so I can walk beneath it. Whenever there is an obelisk, it consists of two parts, the obelisk itself and the base. What's interesting about this one is that the cartouche of the king is encrypted on the base of the obelisk. So this is why we divided them into two, so that the top part I can walk beneath it and see the cartouche, and I can also walk on the showcase and I see the base of the obelisk. First entrance, nothing more magnificent than to see Ramses II, and it's accompanied by some artifacts in the same area, which is a column for Menna, King Menna, which is Ramses II's son, and then another two statues for a king and queen from the Bathlamic era. And then this is how you are going back to walk through the museum. You can either go to the right-hand side where I have the conference or the commercial building. This has all the retail, the offices, and the conference halls, and even a cinema, but this is more of a commercial part. And then on the left-hand side, I have the museum building itself. The museum building consists of 3 floors. On each floor, there are going to be different exhibits connected by the grand stair, of course. And then in the end is the highlight. You're going to see a great view for the 3 pyramids. And then you can go to Tutankhamun galleries or to the main galleries. And then from this entrance, I can walk to the other side of the museum and have the Hofus boat museum. So these are the main items of the museum here.
Okay, Minna, when are you going to be officially inaugurating this amazing, of course, Grand Egyptian Museum that the entire world is foreseeing this second, of course, in this minute. And everybody, of course, we as Egyptians are really proud to see the Grand Egyptian Museum and the grand opening of the Egyptian Grand Museum.
Now we are in like somehow experimental phase. So we are
How long is this experimental phase going to continue?
I think that it has to be until we are really satisfied with what the experience is going to be. So you have the fine tuning for all things, for the architecture, the mechanical, the touristic things. So I have to do all the tweaks and fine tuning in order to give it the best experience that could be given. So until we reach there, I think then we can say that it can be officially opened.
Menna, how do you see yourself as working in a place like the Grand Egyptian Museum? How proud are you? How do you read when you're coming, the energy when you're coming in the morning? As I have a little bit idea about energy, and I know that when you work, when you're among or when you, at least the pyramids, they grab positive energy all the time. How do you feel when you're a part of this amazing landmark that's not only in Egypt, but of course in the entire world?
After a while working here, you are going to be deeply connected to each and every place and artifact here. So it doesn't become only work. So you know more about things that maybe it's not in your scope or not in your work, but you feel the urge to know more about them, and you actually ask and check and know more information about archaeology or about artifacts. And then you are connected to the spaces. So, oh, I did this here. Oh, I finished that here. So it becomes like this. So no, it didn't. Now it's not work at all.
Yes, Menna, we actually had a wonderful experience in the place and interviewing you, of course. Thank you very much for your informative knowledge. Is there anything about the construction and design of the gem that I did not ask you and that we need to know?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, thank you very much, Menna, for joining us in today's episode of Nile Cruise, and it's my utmost pleasure.